and operators have to design and come up with financing.
I would not look for anybody to have any concrete vision of how this is ultimately going to look from a investor standpoint until, the start of next year.
Bulletproof backpacks will now be allowed at Louisiana schools. The governor has signed a proposal to let the students wear the bags on school property or on school buses. Government report due out today finds that Medicare recipients filled fewer prescriptions for pricey brand name drugs, but spent more on such meds anyway. And a Florida man charged with selling prison inmates around the country fake legal documents that had been soaked in a synthetic form of marijuana so the inmates could get high after eating them. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Nine past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Monday. Morning traffic. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Westgate Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be sunny to partly cloudy with a high of 92. Increasing clouds tonight with a shower or thunderstorm around late, low 69 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Twelve past 6 o'clock. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Don't forget the KEEL app is always a free down. You okay down there?
I'm be
Always a free download from Office Furniture Source. Okay, you read your version of the story and tell me the source.
Okay.
Then I'll read my version of the story and tell you the source. Go ahead.
This is from the Associated Press and the Advocate.
Okay.
Louisiana senators have agreed to about $540 million in taxes, an amount that would prevent deep budget cuts. The Sunday night 29-9 vote for the centerpiece sales tax bill sets the parameters for final negotiations with the House over a tax and budget deal as the session reaches its final hours.
Okay, here's late last night from NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune in New Orleans. Now, what was the vote that you said on yours?
29-9.
29-9. Now, you said, well, they're working on two different bills. I said, what? So explain to me, because here is the Times-Picayune, which I thought was the same story. This is late last night. The Louisiana Senate voted 38-1 for a state budget proposal Sunday that would fully fund TOPS, hospitals for the poor, and uninsured prisoner housing and nursing homes. But the plan is based on a controversial tax plan, and it's not clear it can get the full legislature's approval. The Senate budget proposal also relies on using a $53.3 million blah, blah, blah BP oil spill money to cover Louisiana government operating expenses, and expects, it goes on and on to explain how it's broken down. So we have, are these two different things?
Yeah, well, there was a tax bill, sales tax bill. There was a budget bill. I think the overall vote on the budget bill,
It's 38-1. It says right here, the Louisiana Senate voted 38-1 for a state budget proposal late Sunday night that would fully fund TOPS, hospitals for the poor, et cetera, et
I
cetera.
don't think that's fully accurate, but I'm checking on it. I'll look on the Senate website and get the final vote.
Now,
so.
here's the part that bothers me, as we discussed with Barrow Peacock, who said, I don't think this is still going on. The Senate proposal, back to NOLA.com. The Senate proposal also expands a tax break. Remember, we had talked about what kind of payoff, perhaps a poor choice of words, perhaps not, to the Legislative Black Caucus to get them to back the sales tax increase. Because remember, the black legislators originally, pardon me, that was Matt. The black, hold on, pick it up. I got to go cough.
The Legislative Black Caucus has been in negotiations but have not come to any terms.
See, that's not what it says. The Senate proposal also expands a tax break called the Earned Income Tax Credit for poor people with jobs and children. That would expand the tax break by $21 million in the next budget cycle. Okay, what this is, you're saying over your head.
It's way too detailed.
No,
the half penny of the sales tax is going to stay on the books till when, Matt?
I believe it said 2025, but
that's what I care about.
That was going to be my next question. So on the Senate side, they made it temporary.
It looks like it's temporary, but it's another 7 years or something like that.
But this
it goes beyond the next election.
This $21 million giveaway from a state that claims to not have any money on earned income tax credit, which, as we explained, what we talked about with Senator Peacock, is basically, it's an income tax refund for people who don't make enough money to get income tax refunds.
Right.
And the Black Legislative Caucus, who said they wouldn't...
Legislative Black Caucus.
Legislative Black Caucus. Yeah, we don't want them picketing. The Black Legislative Black Caucus.
No!
The Black Legislative Black Legislative Caucus. I'll say it twice because there's a lot of pride.
LBC.
The BCLCB, BCBC, GBT.
I love that TV network.
Don't forget Q.
The point being, they said they would not vote for a sales tax in any form because they say it's unfair to poor people unless they got a tax increase, an income tax increase. Well, then they came up with this earned income tax credit sort of deal. And that seems to be part of this budget bill, a $21 million give back. Do we have $21 million?
I mean, they're raising $540 million, so I don't know.
Here's where we are. It all goes back to the House of Representatives. And what Mr. Barrow told us on Friday was that he doesn't think that the half a penny that the Senate passed has got much of a chance on the House side.
Right.
And he said he knew that if they kept the permanent tax tag on it, that it definitely had no chance. Well, they seem to have removed that.
They have, yeah. They made amendments to it. I mean, I was watching a little bit of it yesterday, and they amended it, and then they voted down some amendments. I was so confused by the end of it. I was like, just let this be over and just tell me what we're supposed to do.
But don't you think at some point that's the governor's plan?
Oh, of course.
I will wear you guys down. I will make you so tired of this because you know what I'm doing while all this is going on? I live in Baton Rouge. Yeah. My house is in Baton Rouge. I live in the governor's mansion. I'm hanging out with the fam and barbecuing on the weekend.
Yeah.
You guys are away from the people that you care about. You're away from your homes, and you're in Baton Rouge, and you're working godless hours, and I can wear you down.
Listen to some of these amendments they put on. This is how stupid this is getting. On page 2, line 11, between session and the comma, insert of the legislature. That's important. On page 2, line 17, between act and 41, insert no between session and insert of the legislature. On page 2, line between session and as, insert of the legislature. On page 2, line 30, delete Louisiana. Little bitty simple little typos. We're waiting until the last minute of the session to get this crap done. What have you been doing all this time? It make me
The Sunday vote for the sales tax bill sets the parameters for final negotiations with the House over a tax and budget deal as the special session reaches its final hours. It is scheduled to end at midnight tonight.
Yeah, I sent you the full digest so you can dive into it and look and see.
Need to break down, see who was the one vote against the budget and who were the 9 votes against the final bill.
Yeah.
19 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Traffic and weather updates coming up right now. Here's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Westgate Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be sunny to partly cloudy with a high of 92. Increasing clouds tonight with a shower or thunderstorm around late, low 69 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Sports update time. Here's Matt.
Steph Curry set an NBA Finals record, drilling 9 3-pointers in Golden State's 122-103 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Curry's looking to win his first ever Finals MVP. The Warriors lead the series 2-0. It was a rough end to the 2018 season for the LSU Tigers. Saturday night, the Bayou Bengals were taken to the limit by the NSU Demons, but somehow managed to survive and pull out a 9-5 win. Then, last night, Oregon State trounced the Tigers 12-0. Coach Paul Maneri said it was obvious the better team won. The Texas Rangers got beat by the Los Angeles Angels 3-1. The Astros were topped by the Red Sox 9-3. And the Washington Capitals look to get one win closer tonight to hoisting the Stanley Cup when they take on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. The Capitals are coming into the game leading the series 2-1 after winning their first home finals game in the 40-year history of the franchise. Puck drop 7 p.m. From the KEEL Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
It's just too confusing.
It is. It really is. There's no way to unravel it.
No.
I'm going to call my buddy down there in the Senate later this morning and unravel it.
Why wait till later? What's keeping you from calling later? Later means after what, 6:30?
No, when he gets to the office. I don't know that I have his cell number.
101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. So what did Miss Erin do this weekend?
Boy, it started out Friday when I went to the MPC meeting. The City Council Parish Commission joint meeting up in the skybox.
Yeah.
And
now this is the meeting. Let me ask you: is this one of the meetings that they are discussing eliminating the MPC?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you have the MPC guy there. I mean, I think he'd rather be at the dental office than be there.
Pardon me. Is it basically for the? Explain this to me and to everybody. Is it basically that, for lack of a better way of phrasing this, and correct me if I'm wrong, that Shreveport would secede from the MPC? Is that
and the parish would as well. And Shreveport would set up their own planning commission. The parish could set up their own, or they could use the cities.
So then there would be this MPC. Currently, it's funded by both
the parish and the city.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's about 75-25. And the city thinks, I mean, each side thinks the other's not paying their share or whatever. I'm not all of them, but there are some.
I would imagine at this point, did this come up in the meeting? There's a
yeah.
No, the question I'm about to ask is, there are two members of the MPC who are sort of running interference for Gateway Development Consortium, meaning the Cross Bayou project.
That came up, definitely. That question was raised. There was really no answer. But
what was that again?
There was really no answer given. But it was not expected. Here's the big picture, the kind of the elephant in the room that was in the room Friday was Mark Sweeney is the director of the MPC.
Right.
His contract auto-renews July 1 if it's not changed. There is a group of people who want him gone. They think he is the problem. And I talked to, I'm trying to think how many, 4 contractors over the weekend who called me to talk about they saw me at the meeting, so they wanted to talk to me about the problems they have with the MPC. And of those 4 guys, their problems were with Mark Sweeney. There are some members of the MPC who have a problem with Mark Sweeney. James Fleury has a problem. There are others who have problems.
Is there a common thread, a common problem that these contractors were related to you as relates to Mr. Sweeney?
It all goes back to when the UDC, Unified Development Code, was put in place. It's very convoluted. So the new UDC has different hoops you have to jump through. And it's like when you move people's cheese. When you move their cheese, they get upset.
Pardon me, was the UDC implemented by the Metropolitan Planning Commission?
Yes, with the City Council, Parish Commission's approval,
okay.
And months of public hearings, public meetings. Everybody got everything out on the table, and it was implemented. It's an effort to make everything black and white. Here's how you do things.
Why do the contractors hate it so much?
Well, here's the deal. Say you've been in a business 30 years, and you now have to follow these guidelines. I'll give you a stupid example. And for some projects, you have to have a pre-meeting. You know, you have a pre-meeting with somebody in the planning department to go over your I's and T's and all that. Well, some of these guys have been doing it 30 years. They always have their paperwork in order there. It's always ready to go. They're like, why do I have to come in for a pre-meeting? I've never had to do that before. Why am I having to jump through this extra hoop now? There are others who say, my company's moving out of state. My company's moving to Bossier. My company's moving, to Little Rock because it's too difficult to do business here. So you've got one faction who now wants to focus on getting somebody new for Sweeney, and they're going to vote. The MPC has his contract on their agenda for the June meeting because this is it. If they don't take some action with regard to getting rid of him in June, his contract auto-renews in July.
But if Shreveport gets out of the MPC, if they say, we're cutting the cord, kids, and if Caddo Parish says, we're cutting the cord, kids, what difference does it make what they do or don't do with Sweeney if the funding is gone?
Well, the problem is you will have signed a contract with him. You'll owe him that money.
I thought you just said the MPC signed a contract with Sweeney.
Well, it all has to get rubber stamped by the city council.
Okay.
And it's city money, essentially, for the bulk of it. So that's all part of the entanglement of this mess. And the June meeting will be good. And Mark and I were sitting at the same table, and I did ask him to come on with us this morning. So I'm going to reach out to him and see if he's willing to do that, because I think he might want to give a different perspective to this, and I don't think anybody's really talked to him in depth about, what I'm trying to do. Why is it difficult to deal with the MPC? What am I doing to improve that?
Do you think that UDC, that universal code, is a good idea? Do you think it could be amended? Why are all these contractors saying no? You're over-regulating us,
and they are amending it as they go. Anytime you put something new in place and you find a hiccup, speaking of hiccups, I love Matt. Sorry, it just reminds me of Matt. You try to fix it. You try to fix those bumps in the road, and they are doing that. But again, it's new. It's caused a lot of feathers to ruffle.
On the other hand, I would imagine that the objections that are being made now are in most cases the same objections that the very same people who are objecting now made when they put this into practice, into code, and they ignored them.
Yeah, exactly.
29 past 6 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.
Coming up, we'll give you an update on Weedgate.
I beg your pardon?
Weedgate.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. You're trying to trick the kids into thinking you're cool, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, hemp mama. 29 past 6 o'clock, traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Looks like I-20 eastbound's got to clear all the way to Monroe right now, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on I-49 northbound near Kings Highway. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very warm with sun and some clouds at a high of 92 today. Increasing clouds tonight with a late night shower or thunderstorm, low 69. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
KEEL News now.
The Senate agrees to keep a half a penny of the temporary tax on the books. The Senate-passed budget fully funds TOPS, higher ed, and health care. The tax bill raises more than $500 million by renewing half of that expiring sales tax. Governor John Bel Edwards praised the legislation, saying Louisiana has moved one step closer to avoiding catastrophic cuts. If adopted, the state sales tax would drop from the current 5% to 4.5%. Ville Platte Senator Eric LaFleur says late-night talks with department heads led to tens of millions of dollars being freed up that could be passed back to taxpayers in tax breaks.
And at the end of the day, we chose to raise the minimum amount of money that it would take to fund important things in state government.
The budget and tax bill will be heard in the House today, the last day of the special session. A man in a wheelchair shot to death in Shreveport. Matt Parker has that.
According to police, an 18-year-old man was shot in the head and killed outside of a nursing home in Shreveport. Natavius Pierce, a resident of the Rehabilitation Center, was sitting in a wheelchair in the 1500 block of Claiborne Avenue when a gunman fired several shots, killing the man. The shooter was able to flee the scene on foot. An investigation into the incident is ongoing. From 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, I'm Matt Parker.
The Explo Systems co-owner dies days before his trial. David Fincher, the co-owner of the company, found dead over the weekend in Tennessee. He and two other execs were set to go on trial this week on charges related to the tons of explosives improperly stored at Camp Minden. At this time, there's been no announcement on if the trial of the two others will proceed as scheduled. Governor John Bel Edwards has signed legislation allowing riverboat casinos to move up to 1,200 feet onto land from their current berth space. Lake Charles Senator Ronnie Johns says the Shreveport-Bossier City market will benefit the most because they face tough competition from Oklahoma, where Indian tribes are building huge casinos. Wade Duty with the Riverboat Association says this is the first major change in Louisiana since casino gambling was legalized back in '91.
Yeah, you're going to see, hundreds of millions of dollars in investment in new structures. You're going to see additional jobs that come with this, and ultimately greater tax revenue for the state.
He says riverboat casinos will not come ashore immediately as there's much regulatory work to do. With the price of a barrel of oil rising above $80 for the first time since 2014, many in the state feel if Louisiana's hard-hit energy industry may be poised for a comeback. However, others say they're still cautious. Experts say the industry is starting to turn a profit again, but things won't be back to normal until an increase of drilling activity happens. A woman in Vivian hit by a train last night. According to police, the accident happened just after 9 p.m. The woman was walking near Front Street and Mississippi Circle when she was hit by the train. At this time, there's no word on the woman's condition. One man dead following a car crash in Shreveport. Bobby Goldman and Robert Sykes were traveling together on Greenwood Road when the crash happened. According to police, Goldman was attempting to turn into a bank parking lot but failed to yield to oncoming traffic and was hit on the passenger side. Sykes died in the crash. Results of a toxicology test on Goldman are pending. This was supposed to be the quiet time on Capitol Hill, but Congress returns to work today to face a House showdown over immigration, while Senate Republicans are trying to stop an all-out trade war after President Trump's decision to impose import tariffs on close U.S. allies. LSU out of the running in the College World Series runoff, losing to Oregon State 12-0. And in the NBA, Golden State takes a 2-0 lead and head to Cleveland for Game 3. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.636, it's 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin. Shreveport Security Systems text line is 318-392-1884. So did you watch any baseball this weekend?
Oh, of course. Yes, I did.
Did you?
Absolutely.
I was being facetious because LSU, lost 2 out of 3 games?
Yeah, they lost.
13-1, 14 I mean, it was not, the 2 games they lost were yeesh.
Both to Oregon State. So,
yeah.
I mean, they got killed by them.
What was the cumulative score, like 27-1?
It was ugly. 14 the first game. I think it was 10 last night.
12.
26. Yeah, I think it's 26.
Yikes. So are you calling for the firing of Paul Maneri? Is this a step one in the unraveling of the program?
But you know what I take away?
Or is it baseball and you don't really care?
You know what I care. You know what I take away from the weekend? Because it was LSU had to play NSU. And people don't realize that's a big dang deal for those NSU kids. There's no bigger stage than they have ever wanted to be on.
There's no bigger stage for LSU either.
Well, no, LSU's been to this all the time. They go to this every year. They're expected to go to this. They're expected to go to the College World Series.
I guess the point I'm making is you're making it sound like the Demon players went in there. Disneyland.
They were.
Do you really believe
no
that?
Doubt.
So do you think they were?
No doubt. They started off very nervous. They made errors. They dropped the ball. They made bad throws. Then they settled in, and they did what they do, and they ended up coming back. They took the lead. They were winning in the ninth inning.
Yeah.
The NSU Demons were beating LSU by a run in the ninth inning. They were winning. I was like, this cannot happen.
What was the final score of the game? What was the
It ended up 9-5, but it was 5-4 going into the ninth. LSU pounded the backup pitcher, killed him. Or Maneri got under their skin, I'm not sure. But it was, the Demons are winning the game in the ninth. I was like, they were really, I would be proud if I was them.
At the end of the day, they're all headed home.
They're all headed home, yeah. The LSU had to play last night. I think the game was 8 or 9 late. It was late. And they had to, again, play Oregon State. Oregon State's just got some bats, man.
Yeah,
and, of course, we have no pitching left. So we had no pitching left. So
Which
it was tough.
LSU's weakness all season, I guess.
Yes. And everybody was worn out. And they just pounded us. And my problem is, this is one of those weekends for me, and I know this is going to sound so dorky, because I want to watch it all. I wanted to watch hockey. I wanted to watch baseball. I wanted to watch the French Open.
And you wanted to watch the Senate on television.
And I wanted to watch the Senate and, of course, all of it. And so I'm just going back and forth, and I'm
with your
like,
laptop
man.
sitting on your lap.
Yeah, I was a crazy woman. I really was. And
What?
the
Did you get that on tape? Do we have that on?
Well, I was a crazy woman. You are a crazy woman.
No, I'm not.
You're
No,
a couple of cats away from being a crazy cat lady.
And I did take a ride Saturday morning. We'll tell you about that when we
Talk
get
about
back.
that next. An interesting tour of the city.
Yes, I did.
639, 1017 FM, 710 Keel, Monday morning traffic. Ruben's here on Keel.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Westgate Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be sunny to partly cloudy with a high of 92. Increasing clouds tonight with a shower or thunderstorm around late, low 69 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Good morning, 642. It's 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Okay, so I see you texting somebody. Who are you texting?
I'm texting Sean Wilson from the DOTD.
Okay. Read the first part. I'm intrigued by his answer.
Okay. I said, "Are you up?" And he said, "Robert can't possibly have 2 birthdays in 1 year."
Not at my age, no.
I said, "Do you have time for us at 7:10?" He said, "Sure. What's the topic?" I told him what I want to talk about, the mega project list. Something was on that surprised me.
Yeah, you just told me. And
I'm like, whose project is this?
Who around here has ever put that? Who around here? We're not going to tell you what it is because you'll go, what the hell?
What?
But
I saw this list and I went, what?
There's really, who would ever list that as a road?
I never had it on my list.
A highways or roads priority.
And it's not mowing.
No.
I do want to ask him about that. If you send the city $240,000 to mow and it ain't getting done,
we need to talk about that.
Do you want
too,
your
a little
mowing
bit
back?
Later. So, what did you do this weekend?
Saturday morning. Well, I got an invite Friday afternoon from Councilwoman Stephanie Lynch,
whom we had on the Friday morning,
who was a little bit miffed at me about poor grass. Your grass is not getting mowed. Poor you.
You want me to rephrase it the way I?
Yeah, you do it.
What I said was she had left. You were talking on Thursday and Friday. with some degree of response, massive response actually,
Yeah.
about the fact that 3132 is generally unmown. Well, so is, by the way, 70th Street from Burt Coons all the way up to the bridge.
Yeah.
But that's a topic, well, maybe not for another day. The point being, she had put a text up, a post up on the KEEL Facebook page in response to your pictures about, look how long this grass is. And basically, this is the way I phrased it.
Right.
Miss Stephanie, are you telling Erin, aw, poor little white girl can't get her grass mowed once a week. Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
And she said, Robert, you are so on it. That was the quote. So
She texted me Friday and said, would you like to ride my neighborhood with me tomorrow morning? I said, absolutely. Pick a time. She picked a time. We met, started out by the airport. And let me just say, there is a billboard on Monkhouse Drive right in front of our airport that is like chopped in half from a storm from over a year ago. The billboard is like falling in pieces. Folks, that's right when all these contestants, that's right when every visitor gets off a plane and drives up Monkhouse. If it's Lamar, I don't know who owns the billboard. Can we get that fixed? Let's start with that. Then we go through Moortown. She takes me through several neighborhoods. Moortown, Morningside, Sunset Acres, several. And I see there are lots of road issues where there's pothole after pothole that your car just get boom, kaboom, kaboom. But then what I took away from riding in the neighborhoods was there are piles and piles of tree limbs and tree branches, and in some cases people have put a couch or they've moved out and they just sit. And she says, they've called, I've called, they just sit. Well, then we roll up on a city crew with a garbage truck. And I talked to the gentleman who's working for the city. He said he's been with the city 13 years. I said, how much you make? He said $14 an hour. I said, how are you making a living? How much is your check? He said he gets about $500 a week. His check's about $500 a week. How are you making a living at that? And he said, it's tough. I said, well, where do you live? He said, I live in Bossier. But there were just, and I said, are you working on a Saturday all the time? He said, oh yeah, we always do. We always have to get out here because they're just not enough people. They don't have enough people working to take care of all the problems. And literally, Robert, it was dozens and dozens of piles of junk. There were ditches in that neighborhood that have not been mowed in a long time.
It's interesting, the consistent points, the consistent problem areas that come up with as you said, the garbage pickup, trash pickup, mowing not being done,
right,
et cetera, et cetera. Now is not the time to discuss this, but doesn't this scream for privatization? Doesn't this scream, if you had a mowing service, if you had the necessary equipment, and let's see, the state puts up $250,000. Was that the number?
$240,000.
And the city throws in about another, what was it, $100,000 or so?
About $60,000.
Okay, so let's say $250,000.
It's $300,000.
Let's say you've got $325,000. I don't know what mowing costs. But what I'm saying is, if you had a mowing company that already had the equipment, if you were a private company, and the city came to you and said, can you cut 49? Can you cut 31, 32? Here's what we need from you. We can give you $300,000+ a year.
We need it mowed every 2 weeks.
Do you think you could do it? I don't know.
I don't know. All I know is today.
But I know the job now is not getting done. Look, Bossier is privatized. Garbage pickup in Bossier is privatized.
Our garbage is privatized. Republic does our garbage in Shreveport.
Then they're not on the city payroll. If it's privatized, then the city's not paying them. The city is paying Republic.
Sure,
you tell me.
Absolutely.
So he's working for Republic. He's not working for the city.
No, this was a city garbage truck. Those crews come by and pick up the big piles of trash. They don't do the extra. The city, the Republic doesn't do the extra
whatever
stuff.
Is not getting done for whatever reason. You have to look at, is privatization, is that an option whose time has come?
It is an option. I do want to say, traveling on 3132 today, there have been some improvements since I railed. but the grass at Line Avenue, Ellerby Road, the on-ramps and exit ramps there, the grass is 5 feet tall. The on and off ramps at Linwood, the grass is 5 feet tall. I'm most upset about people not being honest. If you want to tell me that was mowed before the Miss USA pageant, the pageant was May 21st, then you're telling me it was mowed 3 weeks ago, and now it's 5 feet tall? Help me with that. Help me with that. How does grass grow 5 feet tall in 3 weeks?
649, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Your money now, just a couple of seconds away. Here comes traffic. It's Ruben.
Everything's still looking nice and clear for your early morning drive to work, but look out later on this morning for some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Westgate Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very warm with sun and some clouds at a high of 92 today. Increasing clouds tonight with a late night shower or thunderstorm, low 69. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
When you think Rush Limbaugh, you have to think 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KeelNews.com. KeelNews.com.
Eight before 7 o'clock, 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Time for sports. Here's Matt.
Steph Curry set an NBA Finals record, drilling 9 three-pointers in Golden State's 122-103 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Curry's looking to win his first ever Finals MVP. The Warriors lead the series 2-0. It was a rough end to the 2018 season for the LSU Tigers. Saturday night, the Bayou Bengals were taken to the limit by the NSU Demons, but somehow managed to survive and pull out a 9-5 win. Then, last night, Oregon State trounced the Tigers 12-0. Coach Paul Maneri said it was obvious the better team won. The Texas Rangers got beat by the Los Angeles Angels 3-1. The Astros were topped by the Red Sox 9-3. And the Washington Capitals look to get one win closer tonight to hoisting the Stanley Cup when they take on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. The Capitals are coming into the game leading the series 2-1 after winning their first home finals game in the 40-year history of the franchise. Puck drop, 7 p.m. From the Keel Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
655, Robert and Erin, 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Yes,
Let me clear up. Republic does the recycling program in Shreveport. I may have I misspoke. They don't pick up the trash or the rubbish or anything.
Is it maybe time to look at privatizing it all? The mowing,
yeah.
garbage pickup,
Litter,
just
yeah.
let the city go, look, we'll pay somebody. Look, it's you don't clean your own house. You know, it's what do we call it? The STD ratio, which is the STD ratio, the second and third words are $2.
Okay, yeah,
The
gotcha.
S to dollars ratio.
Right, S to dollars, yeah.
For the what you saw this weekend and what you've talked about on the radio over the last 3 or 4 shows, would you say there is I don't want to say incompetence, I'm not going to say that. Is the job not getting done?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Going to talk with Sean Wilson, head of DOTD. You're going to be shocked by what's on the mega project list for Shreveport.
656, here's Rush on Keel.
Well, here's a shocker. Harvard student newspaper, The Crimson, just ran an editorial calling on Harvard to hire more conservative professors. A month ago, the same paper ran a poll showing that 83% of the Harvard faculty identified as liberal or very liberal. Only 1.6% said that they're conservative or very conservative. The Crimson said these statistics do not reflect America. Really? Yeah, the editors warn the lack of ideological diversity creates a perception that Harvard does not welcome conservatives. They say it's why many Americans distrust higher education. They also say that adding conservative professors would help challenge prevailing ideas on campus. The editors believe that's a good thing. So why is the Crimson swerving into common sense here? Well, maybe these editors were shocked at President Trump's election. Maybe they suddenly noticed the giant disconnect between the Ivy League and the rest of the country. It really doesn't matter why, because the people who actually run Harvard are 100% liberals, and they won't listen to a bunch of student editors. They may talk diversity, but they'll never embrace ideological diversity, especially if that means hiring conservative professors. Oh, maybe a token here or there, but on a mass basis, it isn't going to happen. I wish it would, but it won't. If you were fumbling around in the dark and somebody handed you a flashlight, you take it, right? Shouldn't it be the same when it comes to spotting threats to your identity and the data on your devices? The digital world is so full of connections, it may only take one weak link for criminals to get in. Now, fortunately, new LifeLock identity theft protection now adds the power of Norton Security to shine light on the threats to your data today. Threats to your identity and threats to your computer or tablet like ransomware. No one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime, but new LifeLock with Norton detects a wide range of threats that you may not see on your own. Join now, and for the first year, get an additional 10% off the low starting price of $7.99 a month plus applicable taxes. Just go to lifelock.com and enter the promo code RUSH. That's lifelock.com. Remember, enter my name, RUSH. That's when the magic happens.
Just received reports of a minor accident on Terry Bradshaw Passway westbound near Line Avenue. And we have some traffic delays on Barksdale Boulevard near Hamilton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very warm with sun and some clouds at a high of 92 today. Increasing clouds tonight with a late night shower or thunderstorm, low 69. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
Good morning at 7:03. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Miss Erin's got local news, getting it ready as we speak.
Today, the final day of the legislative session, the Senate passes a budget. We'll take a look. Oil prices on the rise. Could that help in our state? And a violent weekend in our community.
Dr. Sean Wilson is Secretary of the State's Department of Transportation and Development, and we will talk with him in a couple of seconds about these states' priorities on road fixing.
Mm-hmm. Also, Jay Darden joins us at 7:40 on the Senate-passed budget and what he expects the House to do.
He's on our payroll, for heaven's sake.
Really?
Could have phrased that better. Let me see. Fletcher's still on vacation. He may be gone until Labor Day. Mm-hmm. Matt has sports, traffic, and weather, and it's all coming up this hour, and it's here on Keel.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Today is the final day of the legislative session. The Senate okays a budget that extends a half-penny of the sales tax and brings in more than $540 million. Now, the plan also includes a $21 million increase in the Earned Income Tax Credit, which gives up to an additional $95 a year on tax returns to about 43% of Louisiana workers. Now, it's often referred to as the working poor, but not everyone was happy with the direction of the bill. Slidell Senator Sharon Hewitt says claims that the spending plan is a standstill budget are not true because total spending levels are still higher than last year.
This budget then would be $9.6 billion budget, which compares to the current year that we're in right now, 9.461, and the previous 2017 year was 9.1.
The budget and tax bill will be heard in the House today, the last day of the special session. A man in a wheelchair is shot to death in Shreveport. According to police, 18-year-old Natavius Pierce was shot in the head and killed outside of a nursing home. Pierce, a resident of the rehab center, was sitting in a wheelchair on Claiborne Avenue when a gunman fired several shots, killing him. The shooter was able to flee. Could rising oil prices jumpstart our economy? Matt Parker with that.
With the price of a barrel of oil rising above $80 for the first time since 2014, many in the state feel that Louisiana's hard-hit energy industry may be poised for a comeback. However, many in the industry say they are still cautious. Experts say that the industry is starting to turn a profit again, but things won't be back to normal until an increase of drilling activity happens. From 101.7 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
One man's dead following a car crash in Shreveport. Bobby Goldman and Robert Sykes were traveling together on Greenwood when the accident happened. Goldman apparently was trying to turn into a bank parking lot but failed to yield and was hit on the passenger side. Sykes died in the crash. Results of a toxicology test on Goldman are pending. Governor Edwards has signed legislation allowing the riverboats to move up to 1,200 feet onto land from their current berthing space. Executive Director of the Casino Association, Wade Duty, says the coming investments made by the casino industry will help the state's bottom line.
Obviously, with its 21.5% tax rate, if the casinos are generating greater revenue, then Louisiana's portion of that increases concurrently.
But Duty says riverboat casinos will not come ashore immediately, as there's some regulatory work still left to do. The Explo Systems co-owner dies just days before his trial. David Fincher, the co-owner, was found dead over the weekend in Tennessee. Fincher and two other company execs were set to go on trial this week on charges related to the tons of explosives improperly stored at Camp Minden. The American Cancer Society now has new guidelines recommending earlier screenings for colorectal cancer, bumping the previously recommended age from 50 down to 45. LSU Health New Orleans School of Public Health founding dean Dr. Elizabeth Fontham says there's been an alarming new trend.
There were increases in the occurrence of colorectal cancer in young adults under the age of 55, and nobody was getting screened unless they were at least 50 years old.
A colonoscopy is recommended once every 10 years. Little Rock's police chief considering a change in the department's grooming policies so male officers can have more facial hair. The chief says he's gotten several requests from officers who'd like to have beards or goatees. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Ten past 7 o'clock, time for KEEL traffic. Monday morning stuff. Here's Ruben.
Starting to see a little backed up traffic on Terry Bradshaw Passway westbound near Line Avenue due to a minor accident. And we're still keeping a close eye on that 4-car pileup on Airline Drive southbound near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very warm with sun and some clouds at a high of 92 today. Increasing clouds tonight with a late night shower or thunderstorm, low 69. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Twelve past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, the Shreveport Security Systems text line. Always there at 318-392-1884. Dr. Sean Wilson is head, the boss, the big guy, the leather chair at the state's Department of Transportation and Development. Hey, Dr. Sean, how are you today?
Good morning, Robert, and good morning, Erin. How y'all doing?
Morning.
Now, you said her name in a friendly, amicable, upbeat way right now. In about 30 seconds or less, you may not be. She's going to wipe the smile off your face. You're the guy.
Well, I don't think there's anything she can do to wipe the smile off my face. I am patiently waiting to become a grandfather any minute.
Oh,
so,
congrats.
For the first time. So how'd you like that one, Erin?
Oh, I love it, Gramps.
And maintaining your youthful, you and I have to talk skincare regimen later. Because
are you going to be Papa?
I have not told anyone my name, and my wife is probably listening to the show, and if I shared it with you, I'd be in big trouble.
I like all the old sounding
But it's
stuff.
not Papa.
It's not Papa, yeah.
Daddy Sean, all the really creaky old Walton sounding stuff.
I was watching some of the Senate yesterday, and they started talking about the mega projects list for roads and how they needed to find funding to match to bring in the federal dollars. And I thought, I'm going to go look at this mega projects list. And Dr. Sean Paps, I found something on there that kind of shocked me, and I'm like, I feel like an idiot because I think this has been out there. But there's on the list, the A list, which is your, I guess, top priority. Were a couple of local projects that I didn't even know were in the mill. Widening I-20 from Benton Road to 220 is on the list as an A priority. Widening I-20 from the Red River Bridge to I-49, widening that to 6 lanes. Those are ahead of Jimmy Davis Bridge, the I-49 Intercity Connector, the Barksdale new entrance. What motivated that? Where did that come from?
So the most important thing I can tell you is 2 things. One, this is a cost-contained list based on funding scenarios. And then 2, it's based on a number of projects that regional entities all weigh in on. So this was not an exclusive decision by the department. And just because a project is in Project A doesn't mean that all of A will go before Project B. You also have to look at the project readiness. And so when you look at something like I-20 and the major capacity challenges there, you can break those projects up into small, manageable chunks. You can let them all at one time. And you have to consider what's the implications and the cost-benefit of each of those projects. And so it is one of the most confusing things, I think, for the public is to see this list A, B, C, and D, and they automatically assume that everything in A has to go before B, which is not the case. It was really based on engineering, timing, funding scenarios, as well as the ability to generate additional dollars to help leverage some of those projects.
So basically what you're telling her is when she's looking at this list and jumping up and down and throwing stuff is that the widening of the Red River Bridge at I-20 is not the number one priority as far as the state of Louisiana is concerned.
Well, I won't tell you that it's the number one priority as far as Louisiana is concerned because we have to work with MPOs and the Regional Planning Organization. And so within the footprint of that MPO, there are a number of number one projects. That does not necessarily mean that it is more important than another. It just means there's some different implications and funding. For example, the interstate has to take priority over many other roads in terms of federal funds because of the match becomes 90-10, but also it moves a great number of cars, perhaps more than a road that is a 4-lane road or a U.S. highway or something to that effect.
Or so like a bridge over the Red, like a bridge over the Red River. Like a bridge over Red River,
absolutely. So when you look at that, we have some obligations to the federal government to maintain certain things, as well as maintain a certain level of performance. And so when you go through I-20, there's some original stretches of pavement on I-20 that are already extremely over capacity. And so for the federal perspective, if we don't start addressing those projects, we could potentially lose revenue or have funds directed to those projects. And so it's a very complex process. I can just assure you our goal is to do as much as we would be able to do with the funds we have. And remember, this A and B list is $10.6 billion, which is huge, and it has to happen over time. You can't just spend $10.6 billion and no one will be able to move because of the construction, but that's the reality. It's a pretty comprehensive list.
Let me ask you this, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. I'm a nosy woman, as you well know. I keep my tentacles in as much as I can. I'm sorry. I never heard that we needed to widen the I-20 right there. Why is that just done quietly, or it's not controversial? Why am I just seeing this?
You haven't been seeing it because folks tend to take for granted those things that they don't necessarily use as often. And so if you drive over the Jimmy Davis Bridge every morning and deal with that congestion and that condition, you're going to be frustrated because it's that way every day. I-20 carries many people, perhaps some of the same people, but many folks are traveling it for the first time. And here's the other secret about when you widen an interstate. If I have to repave I-20, I have to maintain at least 2 lanes of traffic. And so when you look at a capacity project of adding a lane, a big part of that has to do with pavement preservation and not purely just capacity. Folks could care less about doing what we've already done. They all want something new and shiny, as opposed to taking care of the daily routine stuff like you do at home, changing a light bulb, putting new carpet, a new roof every 30 years.
Mowing the grass, yeah.
Mowing the grass, absolutely. That's what you have kids for, right?
Since you brought up mowing the grass, can I ask you a question?
You can ask me a question. Now.
Okay. You send us $240,000 to mow.
Say again?
The state sends us $240,000 a year, the city of Shreveport, to mow the grass on I-20, I-49, 31, 32.
Correct.
The city chips in some money too. What if it's not getting mowed?
If it's not getting mowed, then we have performance standards on that contract. But most importantly, I'll tell you, when we mow, we only pay for so many mowing cycles per year. You might only mow 7, 8 cycles a year and have about 10 to 12 litter pickups a year.
Okay.
And so the other challenge is when we have short-term budget constraints and we have to cut the budget. For example, if that budget that had passed in the session that the governor vetoed, had he signed that, we'd have had about a $20 million reduction. I'd have had to find about $20 million quickly. The best place to find that and produce that savings is on contract maintenance. Contract maintenance includes things like mowing, and so those are the things that would have been reduced had the budget been reduced. And so if they're not cutting it, we go out and do checks, and we actually verify that is getting cut, and they get their reimbursement. So it's not as though they get a check for $240,000 and then just disappear.
Okay. Well, just check 3132 when you get a chance. Next time you're up here.
I will do it.
Use one of your drones. I know you've got those suckers flying
well,
around.
Papa, it was so great talking to you. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
And congratulations, no matter what the grandfatherly moniker happens to be, we're happy for you, man. Congratulations.
As long as it's a healthy little girl and mom and dad are doing well, I'll be blessed.
You're in our prayers. Thank you, sir.
19 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Ruben, traffic update.
The intersection at North Market and North Herd Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still keeping a close eye on a 4-car pileup on Airline Drive southbound near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, very warm with sun and some clouds at a high of 92 today. Increasing clouds tonight with a late night shower or thunderstorm, low 69. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
22 past 7 o'clock, time for Keel Sports.
Steph Curry set an NBA Finals record, drilling 9 three-pointers in Golden State's 122-103 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Curry's looking to win his first ever Finals MVP. The Warriors lead the series 2-0. It was a rough end to the 2018 season for the LSU Tigers. Saturday night, the Bayou Bengals were taken to the limit by the NSU Demons, but somehow managed to survive and pull out a 9-5 win. Then, last night, Oregon State trounced the Tigers 12-0. Coach Paul Maneri said it was obvious the better team won. The Texas Rangers got beat by the Los Angeles Angels 3-1. The Astros were topped by the Red Sox 9-3. And the Washington Capitals look to get one win closer tonight to hoisting the Stanley Cup when they take on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. The Capitals are coming into the game leading the series 2-1 after winning their first home finals game in the 40-year history of the franchise. Puck drop, 7 p.m. From the Keel Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
Okay, I almost said Dr. Jay Darden. 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Budget Doctor Jay Darden, Commissioner of Administration, actually joins us just about 7:40 or so.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about the budget a little bit. Just hang on for it. It looks like a deal is.
I don't know. House members saying, nah, that ain't happening. I don't know.
Okay, so it was a 29-9 vote in favor of the sales tax.
Half a penny for 5-7 years.
It's a half a penny for 5 years.
Is it
That's
5?
the compromise. The House budget, the tax bill, the sales tax that passed the House was a third of a penny for 5 years. The Senate side wanted a half a penny originally, a half a penny permanent. The Senate side has passed a half a penny for 5 years.
I thought it was till 2025.
Maybe it is.
I'm not sure.
That would be
7 years.
7 years,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Either way, what Beryl Peacock told us was, what Senator Peacock told us was, that he doesn't think that the House at least will go for the amount or anything more than 5 years
and
on.
Then what? When the House says no, then what?
Another special session.
Right away?
I don't know.
Start tomorrow.
I don't know.
Here we go.
Got to balance the budget. It's the law. We'll talk with Mr. J in about 15 or 20 minutes.
Oh, my gosh.
I had not an old guy moment, but you're going to say it's an old guy moment.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard me refer to previously memory blocking. And memory blocking happens a lot. You do it all the time.
Oh, all the time.
And the thing about memory blocking is it's if you don't know what it is, once you get to be about 50 or 55 and it kicks in, well, you're starting to do it just because you're hanging out with us. Point at Matt now.
Yeah.
I try to block out everything when you two are around.
It's basically what happens is you're trying to think of something, and then you get the wrong thing in your head, and you can't push it out.
Mm-hmm.
And the example I use was from a couple of months ago when I couldn't think of the word autistic. And all I could think of was acoustic or altruistic.
Right.
As in, oh, that child is altruistic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he may give his allowance to others, but that's not. So that happened again this weekend. And so I'm this is so horrible. So I'm driving down the road because you're going to think of the word as soon as I sort of kick into it.
Okay.
So I'm driving down the road and I'm listening to the radio and an Edgar Winter song comes on.
Oh boy.
Now, without me saying what the word is, can you think of the word that I'm thinking of?
No.
Edgar Winter is an
I don't know.
albino.
Oh no.
I couldn't think of the word albino.
Oh boy.
All I could think of was Adobe.
He's an Adobe.
He's an Adobe.
He's Indian.
And aerobic.
Aerobic.
So
he's a healthy Indian.
He's Edgar Winter is and
he can run down the neck of that guitar, boy.
Oh,
Adobe.
Man.
Look at the guy with white hair. He's aerobic.
Oh, boy.
So if this happens to anybody else, and I'm sure it does because Dr. Pat Day and I talked about this, it happens to him all the time. It was freaking him out. I said, no, you're just
my age.
Yeah, exactly. So the point being, I'm telling you the story as a public service.
Right.
It's not the end of the world. You're not losing your mind.
Yeah.
You're only like me.
Right.
Which is cause enough for concern.
I've got to tell you a story when we come back about mosquitoes. I'm just going to leave it at that. Mosquitoes have messed up my life. You got that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jay Darden's going to join us at 7:40 too.
Speaking of, 29 past 7 o'clock, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here comes Ruben.
Starting to see a little backed up traffic on Terry Bradshaw Passway westbound near Line Avenue due to a minor accident. And we're still keeping a close eye on that 4-car pileup on Airline Drive southbound near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness traffic hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be sunny to partly cloudy with a high of 92. Increasing clouds tonight with a shower or thunderstorm around late, low 69 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
traveling together on Greenwood Road when the crash happened. According to police, Goldman was attempting to turn into a bank parking lot but failed to yield to oncoming traffic and was hit on the passenger side. Sykes died in the crash. Results of a toxicology test on Goldman are pending. This was supposed to be the quiet time on Capitol Hill, but Congress returns to work today to face a House showdown over immigration, while Senate Republicans are trying to stop an all-out trade war after President Trump's decision to impose import tariffs on close U.S. allies. LSU out of the running in the College World Series runoff, losing to Oregon State 12-0. And in the NBA, Golden State takes a 2-0 lead and head to Cleveland for Game 3. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Okay, so what's your story?
Let me tell you real quick.
Okay.
I have a guest staying with me right now from California, and this person got up about 1 o'clock this morning, and I could hear rustling, and then I could hear the washing machine.
You're not a sound sleeper.
I am usually a sound sleeper, but I heard so I'm up, and he goes, "Do you have any Benadryl?" And I said, let me look. Everything's kind of still not where it's all supposed to be. So I went and looked. I had some Benadryl cream. I said, what's wrong? He said, I got bit by a spider. I said, a spider? Yeah, in 3 places, and I'm allergic. So I said, I have this Benadryl cream. Well, yeah, that'll work. But I'm washing all the sheets and the blankets and everything. I said, a spider got in your bed? Yeah, I think so. I said, well, I think maybe it's a mosquito. I don't know. Maybe a mosquito got in. No, mosquitoes leave a different kind of whelp or whatever.
A different kind of what?
Whelp.
A welt.
Whelp. It's a whelp.
Okay, let's rather than put the.
So let me finish the story because we're going to have Jay Darden calling.
On your story, go ahead.
So person goes back to bed. I get up when it's time to get up around 3:30, and I come out and he's asleep on the couch. And he's all bundled up, head to toe, hoodie on, and all that. I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "Well, it was still biting me." And he put new sheets on the bed. And so I just covered up and I came down here. And he said, then I figured out it was a mosquito. There's one mosquito that has just apparently followed this. I said, that's our state bird. It's a mosquito. How do they get in the house? I would like to know how they get in the house.
How they get in your house?
Yes.
I would imagine because you don't have windows or screens.
No, I have windows and I have screens.
Oh, that's right. You upgraded. Okay.
Yes. I don't understand that. But anyway, so this is the time of the year he was like, am I going to have to deal with mosquitoes?
So what's his physical reaction to a mosquito bite?
It blew up. Mine doesn't do that. But see, I was always, as a child, I was one of those that mosquitoes were attracted to me. My daddy told me it was because I was so sweet.
Well, your dad was being biased.
Was he?
Yes, he was.
So now I have, I guess, somebody sweeter in my house because it's attacking him.
I would imagine if you're from California, the kinds of insects you have, when you come to Louisiana, that anything is like an alligator bite.
Yeah.
739, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Jay Darden, Commissioner of Administration, just a couple of seconds away. Are both legislative houses on the verge of an agreement? And will they finally get to go home? This is like an episode of Wagon Train. Traffic update. Here's Ruben.
The intersection at North Market and North Hearn Avenue is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still keeping a close eye on a 4-car pileup on Airline Drive southbound near Swan Lake Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, very warm with sun and some clouds at a high of 92 today. Increasing clouds tonight with a late night shower or thunderstorm, low 69. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Okay, so what's your story?
Let me tell you real quick.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty. KEEL app's a free download, and it is presented by Office Furniture Source. Mr. Jay Darden is the state of Louisiana's Commissioner of Administration, and I'm sort of a guest host here lately. Hey, Mr. Jay, welcome back to KEEL. Thanks for taking time for us.
Thank you, Robert. Good morning.
Okay, so the Senate has passed their budget and their sales tax bill, and it's going over to the House side, and there's this total. Are you optimistic? Is the governor optimistic that at midnight tonight, when everybody goes, see ya, that there will be a deal done?
Yes, we are optimistic, and we hope it'll be well before midnight. That's the absolute last moment, but I hope today that there's a lot left to do, but there are not that many instruments left to deal with. So the whole focus will be on reaching an agreement on the budget and reaching an agreement on the revenue measures.
So what, right now, the differences between the Senate version and the House version are as follows?
Well, they're significant. I mean, there are a lot of changes in the revenue measure. The House sent over a third of a penny to be extended, and the Senate went to make that a half penny. That's the biggest item in the revenue portion of the package, and it requires a 2/3 vote on the House to either agree with what the Senate did right off the bat and say that's going to be the deal, or the bill could go to conference, which means 3 people from the House and 3 people from the Senate would be on a conference committee charged with fashioning a resolution one way or the other.
This is not, Jay, pardon me, this is not your first day. What do you expect?
Well, I'm expecting and hoping that there's going to be a resolution today, and that the Senate budget is going to be adopted, and that the revenue measure that the Senate sent over likewise will be adopted. That'll enable us to fully fund TOPS, to fully fund our medical school in Shreveport and all of our partner hospitals, fully fund higher education, make some cuts to the Department of Health but not force us to have to cut some of these optional services that have been the subject of a lot of discussion over the course of the past several months.
The Senate plan brings in $540 million. The governor and you guys say you need $640 million. Where's the $100 million coming from? Do you have an idea what will be cut?
Oh, yeah. The budget makes those cuts. I mean, there's a percentage cut in a number of the departments of state government, a number of things that we'd like to see funded are not going to be funded. And you got to keep in mind there already were dramatic cuts imposed by the governor at the time we presented the budget, knowing not all the revenue would be made available to us. So you're knocking on the door of $200 million in cuts overall that will be made from the budget, and those are not without some consequences. But
tell us about that. How will residents feel these cuts?
Well, it's hard to say. We'll have to determine what percentage cut is allocated to the various departments. It absolutely could mean some layoffs, I'm afraid, in some areas of government. I don't know that for sure yet. We've got to analyze exactly where those percentage cuts would be if the budget is adopted. For example, the $20 million facility in Bunkie for juveniles that has been completed and ready to open that we have not yet been able to open, we'll only have partial funding to open it for. We'll have to delay the opening of it yet again. And that's an example of jobs that won't be created in the Avoyelles Parish area.
Mr. J, there's a lot of folks on the House side, as you know, who have said that the third of a penny amount and the temporary tax at 5 years, I think it was, that anything other than that is kind of a deal breaker. What do you really... Are there any signs from the House side and or from the Senate side that make you think that there could be a compromise?
Well, I do think there can be a compromise, and those in the House who say the deal is a third of a penny and 5 years and that's it, if they continue to hold that position, they would then have to live with the cuts that were made in the House budget that was sent over, and there were significant cuts made in that budget. A lot of things that were not able to be done. TOPS not fully funded, optional Medicaid services greatly at risk, the potential for higher education not to be fully funded. So those who say that's the line in the sand, I'm not voting for anything else, would have to then own the serious cuts that would be made. And this is the opportunity for the House, two-thirds of a member of the House. There won't be unanimity in the House by any stretch, but I think two-thirds of the membership in the House want to solve this problem that they've been avoiding for a couple of years now in many special sessions at a great expense to the people of this state. And to not have a budget or a resolution to the revenue issue after this special session, having failed in the first special session, having failed in the regular session, to then say to the people, well, we're going to cost you $60,000 a day to come back in late June and have another special session. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
It sounds to me like you're saying that it's all up to the House to compromise, not on the Senate. Is that your stance?
Well, it's absolutely correct. The House took the position that this is it, our way or the highway, and the Senate said, no, that's not the way this process works. We're going to make changes we think are appropriate in the revenue measures and in the budget. And that's what a compromise involves. And so now this is going back to the House, and I would suggest in an appropriate compromise fashion, and the House gets to debate and decide whether or not they want to fix this problem once and for all, or whether they want to come back in another special session and try and fix it, because they'll be back. The fiscal year ends on June 30th, and we've got a couple more weeks to try and avoid the catastrophe of not having a budget and shutting down services.
The half penny that the Senate wants, you told us that you wanted it to be permanent. You needed a permanent solution. It looks like it's still temporary. Is that accurate?
That is accurate. It's 7 years. It went from 5 years to 7 years, and it's not permanent. I wish it was permanent, but 7 years is a lot better than 5 years for this reason. A 5-year sunset would take it into next election year and the next cycle, which makes no sense at all. And the 7 years at least gives the whole next term to have the debate about a constitutional convention, to have the debate about further tax reform, to do the kind of things that people have been talking about and legitimately can be debated. But it would at least push things out 7 years. We're creating another cliff, but it's not another cliff that would happen even in the next term. And that's better than having a 3-year cliff or a 5-year cliff.
You feel confident that the situation, the financial situation, will be fixed, and this tax can come off the books in 7 years?
No, I don't think you're going to be able to. I think it would be fixed for 7 years, and the debate would then ensue as to whether or not this ought to be continued in the manner in which it would be voted on now, or whether there ought to be some change in the tax system between now and then. You're not going to be able to roll off. Who knows what that amount will be 7 years from now? But as we've seen in this debate, you can't just give up $1.4 billion in revenue to the state and expect the state to continue doing what the people want to do by way of TOPS and health care and higher education and corrections and everything else.
Jay Darden, Administration Commissioner, going to be down at the Capitol. I know you're being in a lot of meetings today.
There will be a lot of meetings today, but hopefully it's going to be a successful one.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you.
749, it's 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Your money now just ahead. Here's Ruben.
Just received reports of a minor accident on I-20 westbound near Fairfield Avenue, and we're still keeping an eye on some backed up traffic on Airline Drive southbound near Swan Lake Road due to a major accident. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Here's your KeelAccuWeather.com forecast. Kind of cloudy. A few clouds, but hot again today. Low 90s. Right now, 75 at Keel. Here's your money now. $7:52, time for Keel Sports.
Steph Curry set an NBA Finals record, drilling 9 three-pointers in Golden State's 122-103 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Curry's looking to win his first ever Finals MVP. The Warriors lead the series 2-0. It was a rough end to the 2018 season for the LSU Tigers. Saturday night, the Bayou Bengals were taken to the limit by the NSU Demons, but somehow managed to survive and pull out a 9-5 win. Then, last night, Oregon State trounced the Tigers 12-0. Coach Paul Maneri said it was obvious the better team won. The Texas Rangers got beat by the Los Angeles Angels 3-1. The Astros were topped by the Red Sox 9-3. And the Washington Capitals look to get one win closer tonight to hoisting the Stanley Cup when they take on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. The Capitals are coming into the game leading the series 2-1 after winning their first home finals game in the 40-year history of the franchise. Puck drop, 7 p.m. From the Keel Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
So I had a couple of friends go to see that Solo, the Star Wars movie this weekend. What's the kid's name? Alden Ehrenreich. That's his name, who plays Han Solo. And my buddy Tommy, and I said, what was it like? How'd you like it? And he goes, pew, 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 pew. Pew, pew, pew.
Did they have I Am Your Father? No, none of that?
That was basically it. No, it's a prequel. So the kid, Alden Ehrenreich, who's probably mid to late 20s, maybe 30.
He's the kid Han Solo.
He plays a young Han Solo.
Oh, wow.
And, and the irony of that is you read everywhere how it's bombing at the box office. It's tanking. Solo, a Star Wars, whatever it is a total. It's a financial disaster because in its first couple of weeks it only did how much?
In its opening week, I don't know what it's done since it opened, but it only made $120 million domestically.
Oh boy!
So it was such a terrible
what a rag of a movie.
Remember when that used to be like, if you got 120 million, you were basically golden. You could do whatever you want. Like you could get any project you wanted greenlit. Now it's like, oh, it's such a disappointment.
Were Lucas and/or Spielberg in any way associated with this one?
Oh, George Lucas sold out to Disney a long time ago, brother.
Yeah.
No wonder he doesn't work much anymore. 756, 1017 FM, 710 Keel, trying to track down. We talk about the state the budget that has come out of the state Senate and the tax bill that has come out of the state Senate. If you missed our conversation with Commissioner of Administration Jay Darden, they've got their stance, i.e. he, specifically the governor. There are deal breakers. We will fill you guys in if you missed it. 757, here's Sean Hannity on KEEL.
Turn up your radio. Here's the Sean Hannity Morning Minute.
All right, so the liberal New York Times once again perpetuating their fake news, and it took President Trump to put them in their place. Now, last Tuesday night, the president, he speaks at a rally in Nashville, Tennessee. New York Times, their estimate for the crowd size, predictably way off. So the president goes to Twitter and he writes, the corrupt at New York Times estimated the crowd last night at 1,000 people, when in fact, it was many times more that number. Now, after his tweet, the Times reporter, issued a correction, which actually included the words, yes, President Trump is correct. In other words, I think hell just froze over. And the New York Times even praising the great economic news on Friday. Even they now are catching up to us.
Check out the Sean Hannity radio show later today, right here.
When it comes to mortgages, the internet can help you understand a lot of things, like the importance of a good credit score or the difference between an adjustable rate and a fixed rate mortgage. But when it comes to knowing what's best for you, you need more than an online search. I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Sure, information is everywhere, but don't you want knowledge you can trust? A home loan expert working with you personally from start to finish? A solid approval based on real information? Rocket Mortgage gives you options, technology when you want it, and people when you need them. We help you understand the details so you can make a confident decision and get approved in as few as 8 minutes. In fact, for 8 consecutive years, we've been ranked highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination by J.D. Power. And we're America's largest mortgage lender. So when you're looking for answers, go online, but start and finish with RocketMortgage.com.
Based on Rocket Mortgage data in comparison to public data records. For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Rocket Mortgage.
The intersection at North Market and MLK Drive is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we're still keeping an eye on that minor accident on I-20 westbound near Fairfield Avenue. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Very warm with sun and some clouds and a high of 92 today. Increasing clouds tonight with a late night shower or thunderstorm, low 69. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 1017 FM and 710 Keel. KEEL, Shreveport.
803, Robert and Erin, 1017 FM and 710 Keel. Erin, local news, typing it up. Yes, she still uses a typewriter as we speak.
The Senate approves the budget. We'll tell you where it shakes out and how much it will cost you. One of the co-owners of Explo System has died. That's coming up. And a violent weekend in our community.
Speaking of that Senate budget vote, there was one nay, there was one no, there was one this is not for me, and it was Senator John Milkovich, and we will chat with him about why in about 10 minutes or so. Plus Fletcher's still away. Matt has sports for Tim and traffic and weather all coming up this hour right here on Keel.
The power of information. KEEL News now.
Senators have agreed to about $540 million in taxes for the coming fiscal year. The tax bill would fully fund TOPS, higher ed, and health care. It raises more than $500 million by renewing half of the expiring penny sales tax and eliminating some business tax deductions. Bill Platt Senator Eric LaFleur says it's a compromise that he hopes everyone can be content with.
We did the best that we could. What we chased and what we found and how we allocated those were smart, part of a good, solid policy.
The budget and tax bill will be heard in the House today, the last day of the special session. The Explo Systems co-owner dies days before his trial. Matt Parker with that.
David Fincher, co-owner of Explo Systems, was found dead over the weekend in Tennessee. Fincher and two other company executives were set to go to trial this week on charges related to the tons of explosives improperly stored at Camp Minden. At this time, there has been no announcement on if the trial of the two others will proceed as scheduled. From 1017 FM and 710 Keel, I'm Matt Parker.
A man in a wheelchair shot to death in Shreveport. 18-year-old man was shot in the head and killed outside of a nursing home. The victim, a resident of the rehab center, was sitting in a wheelchair on Claiborne Avenue when a gunman fired several shots, killing the man. The shooter was able to flee the scene on foot. Investigation continues. A woman in Vivian hit by a train. According to police, the accident happened just after 9 p.m. She was walking in the area of Northeast Front Street and Mississippi Circle when she was hit by the train. At this time, there's no word on the woman's condition. One man dead following a car crash in Shreveport. Bobby Goldman and Robert Sykes were traveling together on Greenwood Road when the crash happened. According to police, Goldman was attempting to turn into a bank parking lot but failed to yield to oncoming traffic and was hit on the passenger side. Sykes died in the crash. Results of a toxicology test on Goldman are pending. With the price of a barrel of oil above $80 for the first time since 2014, many in the state feel Louisiana's hard-hit energy industry may be poised for a comeback. However, others say they're still cautious. Experts say the industry is starting to turn a profit again, but things won't be back to normal until an increase of drilling happens. Governor John Bel Edwards has signed legislation allowing riverboat casinos to move up to 1,200 feet onto land from their current berth space. Executive Director of the Louisiana Casino Association, Wade Duty, says riverboat casinos will not come ashore immediately as there's some regulatory work to do, and operators have to design and come up with financing.
I would not look for anybody to have any concrete vision of how this is ultimately going to look from a investor standpoint until, the start of next year.
Bulletproof backpacks will now be allowed at Louisiana schools. The governor has signed a proposal to let the students wear the bags on school property or on school buses. Government report due out today finds that Medicare recipients filled fewer prescriptions for pricey brand name drugs. but spent more on such meds anyway. And a Florida man charged with selling prison inmates around the country fake legal documents that had been soaked in a synthetic form of marijuana so the inmates could get high after eating them. I'm Erin McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Past 8 o'clock, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Time for traffic.
Just received reports of a minor accident on I-20 westbound near Fairfield Avenue. And we're still keeping an eye on some backed up traffic on Airline Drive southbound near Swan Lake Road due to a major accident. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline. That's 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be sunny to partly cloudy with a high of 92. Increasing clouds tonight with a shower or thunderstorm around late, low 69 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
.101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. It's 11 past 8 o'clock. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. KEEL app's a free download and presented by Office Furniture Source. John Milkovich, State Senator. Hey, Mr. John, how are you this morning?
Good, Robert and Erin. How are you all?
I am reading from NOLA.com, Times-Picayune in New Orleans. The Louisiana Senate voted 38-1 for a state budget proposal Sunday evening that would fully fund TOPS, blah, 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 blah. We can get into the nuts and bolts of the budget in a couple of minutes, but 38-1. John, you were the one. Tell us why.
Well, Robert and Erin, we campaigned on a platform of cutting wasteful spending, reducing government, and really standing up for the working families, small businesses, and professionals who pay most all of the taxes in Louisiana. It's the people in the middle. People that can't work or won't work aren't paying the taxes. The huge corporations are the amount of taxes they don't pay is shocking. It's surprisingly low, the amount of taxes that they contribute. So that's why we introduced budget amendments, which we did yesterday, to cut more than $290 million of wasteful spending. I voted against the budget, and I voted against $3.5 billion in sales taxes over the next 7 years.
Your idea would be more cuts. Can you give us some ideas of other cuts you think we could make? Obviously,
absolutely.
we don't want to put
Yes.
nursing home patients on the street. You know, we've heard all that from the governor's office, right?
Listen, we identified over $290 million of cuts, and we presented them to the Senate as budget amendments. And by the way, 9 out of the 10 were defeated, but on multiple of the amendments, we got one passed, and most of the other amendments got a number of votes from other senators. But yes, there's cuts that we can make. There is wasteful spending. The nursing homes are getting overpaid. They're overcharging the Louisiana taxpayers through the Medicaid program. They're basically getting paid overpaid on Medicaid patients. They're getting paid a rate that's based upon the higher level of need of the average nursing home population. They're getting paid an excessive rental fee. And also, this time they're getting an inflationary rate adjustment. So the nursing homes are doing very well. They're getting paid over $1 billion. That goes to the nursing home owners. $1 billion just in Medicaid money this year. That's not counting Medicare or private pay. The Department of Education, I keep stressing, this is not teachers in the classroom. This is not brick and mortar for schools. This is not teacher salary. This is a Baton Rouge bureaucracy that spends red tape and bureaucracy and fine print for teachers, and many teachers are really frustrated with them. Their budget is $1.6 billion.
You sound like a Republican this morning.
Well, listen, I think we need to get over this Republican, Democrat, black, white thing. I think we need to go to Baton Rouge, and people need to go to Washington, and we need to go ahead and fight for the people in the middle because they're paying all the taxes, and they've had it. There is some wasteful spending in Baton Rouge. It's not all wasteful spending, but we identified 9 or 10 different areas. I mean, we're getting ripped on the lease with the Bensons. That's a hit on the taxpayers. Department of Education, the nursing homes are really, working the taxpayers up and down the line. I mean, I even introduced a resolution that says, look, I don't think taxpayers should be paying the Louisiana Supreme Court to do lobbying and public relations. I mean, I think it's their job to be judges and issue just decisions. But I don't think we should be subsidizing their lobbying and public relations for a court.
Mr. John, pardon me, John, we had Jay Darden on about 30 or 45 minutes ago, and he basically said that in his mind, i.e. in the governor's mind, that it is totally up to the House of Representatives to make any compromise, that they need to move off of their third of a penny 5-year and head more in, what the bill that passed the Senate, which is the half penny for 7 years. What do you think's going to happen? Is there room for compromise on the House side? Do you see it? And if it came back to you, would you vote for the one that's on the House side right now?
Well, let me say this real quickly to finish my point. Another thing that we said is let's do a hiring freeze in the executive branch. And Senate staff said that would save the taxpayers $165 million. Not firing a single person, just saying we're going to let vacant positions stay vacant. That's $165 million. We're not going to grow government. But I think there is a chance that we will end up getting out of this with the compromise. I'm still reluctant to renew any part of these sales taxes or as much as they're asking for, because I don't want to vote for part of this sales tax to stick around another 5 or 7 years. I think we need to make cuts first. And the 290, by the way, movie tax credits. We love the movie industry, but we're paying $100 million or up to $150 million a year to the movie industry. And analysts say we're receiving 23 cents back return on investment for every dollar we spend. I mean, that we're talking, like I said, $290 million of identifiable cuts, so that we don't, and if we make these cuts in areas that are wasteful, number one, we don't have to cut vital services, and number two, we don't have to keep slamming middle class, working classes, the working class small business people and professionals with more and more taxes.
Speaking of potential deal breakers on the Senate side, the $21 million basically give back, the earned income tax credit. Do you see any way that the House of Rep, first of all, to me, for a state that seems to be in such a financial bind, to come up with a $21 million giveaway is sort of strikes me as crazy. But is there any way the House is going to go for that?
I don't, you know, I think they will not. Listen, I voted against that, not because I'm oblivious to the challenges of working people. I feel like that's what I'm here for, is to represent working people. But it's very dangerous when we put the government in the position of being a redistributor of wealth or subsidizing salaries and wages or deciding, you know, how much money the individuals get. When we do that, that is a dangerous step, and I don't want to sound like an alarmist, but that's socialism. And listen, I advocate also for programs that help people in health care, and I've spoken up for several years for university health. But when the government gets into the business of making outright subsidies to people because they should be making more, how about we go ahead and strengthen the private sector? How about we give people a fair shake in the court so court cases aren't decided by who's got the money and who's got the lawyers with the country club connections? Why not? And by the way, I did support minimum wage increase of $1 to I think about $8.25, which is controversial probably to some. But I would rather us help working people work and be able to make it than for us to get into wide open giveaway programs. I think, you know, of course, I guess that's a bigger cultural issue we don't have time to get into, but
Right.
We've got to get back from welfare to work, not just because our government cannot afford all of these subsidies and government programs, but because it is erosive to our culture and our morality when we get away from family, work, and faith. We got to get back to the basics.
Senator John Milkovich, thanks for your time. Look forward to having you in studio when you get home.
Listen, thank you guys for the great work that you do.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, John. 19 past 7 o'clock, 1017. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Uri Drive and East Kings Highway, and we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, very warm with sun and some clouds at a high of 92 today. Increasing clouds tonight with a late night shower or thunderstorm, low 69. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Twenty-two past 8 o'clock, time for KEEL Sports.
Steph Curry set an NBA Finals record, drilling 9 three-pointers in Golden State's 122-103 win over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Curry's looking to win his first ever Finals MVP. The Warriors lead the series 2-0. It was a rough end to the 2018 season for the LSU Tigers. Saturday night, the Bayou Bengals were taken to the limit by the NSU Demons, but somehow managed to survive and pull out a 9-5 win. Then, last night, Oregon State trounced the Tigers 12-0. Coach Paul Maneri said it was obvious the better team won. The Texas Rangers got beat by the Los Angeles Angels 3-1. The Astros were topped by the Red Sox 9-3. And the Washington Capitals look to get one win closer tonight to hoisting the Stanley Cup when they take on the Las Vegas Golden Knights. The Capitals are coming into the game leading the series 2-1 after winning their first home finals game in the 40-year history of the franchise. Puck drop, 7 p.m. From the KEEL Sports Desk, I'm Matt Parker.
Okay, give us a second. We're going to talk about you like you're not here.
Go ahead.
And then you can jump in where you feel that you should.
All right.
Well, just wait. You have no idea what I'm going to talk. Well, maybe you do. 101.7 FM is 710 KEEL. Robert and Erin. There were... That was a shudder. There were people this weekend who voiced, and good-hearted, intelligent, probably well-intentioned people. You know where I'm going, don't you?
Oh, I already know where we're going. Yes,
I
yes,
do
yes.
too.
There were people this weekend that approached...
They're nut jobs.
What?
They're nut jobs.
Already you're alienating your electorate.
That's all right.
There were people this weekend that approached, Erin McCarty, and said that they wish she would run for mayor.
Or office of some sort.
Do I have that right?
You have that right. About 8 different people in different places where I went.
Okay, let me...
It started at that MPC meeting on Friday.
I don't want... I
appreciate the love. I really do.
I don't want to I don't mean to speak ill of these people, because I'm sure they were...
Please speak ill of them, because they got a dumbass idea.
Here's the deal. Just because someone is capable of pointing out a problem doesn't mean that in this case she is capable of fixing the problem.
I have ideas to fix the weed problem. Trust me.
Yeah.
I have ideas for on the crime front, too. Nobody's asking me, though.
Look at this. Look at this. You're saying I'm not
but
running.
But I'm not running.
Nobody asked me.
I'm not running for mayor. I'm not running for mayor. I would never run for political office.
Come on.
But I've got lots of really good ideas.
You guys, of all the people in my life, you guys know my baggage.
Look, this is how
more than anyone in the world.
This is how it starts.
No. How it starts is I will never do anything in politics in the city. Then she's on the A&E committee. Then she's on the neighborhood
neighborhood thing.
Yeah, whatever.
And now she's riding along with city councilmen talking about running for mayor.
No, I'm not running
Literally,
for mayor.
We're not making this up. She called me on Saturday. Was it Saturday or yesterday? And she says, Robert, there are people who think I should run for mayor. And I said...
Erin is not running for mayor.
Okay, well, wait a second. Give us the scenario of the people and what they had to say.
It started. It's a few people have said so over the last few months, but it started at the MPC.
Where are these people?
I don't know what's wrong with them. I really don't know what drugs they're taking, but I need to check. But I go into
laying the foundation for a voter block.
I go into the city council cattle commission, this joint meeting, at the Skybox at Independence Stadium, and I just and I plop in. I know a lot of folks in this group, okay? So I plop down at a table next to a few people.
Pardon me, is the camera still on me?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I know. And I'm sitting in, and everybody's, hey, good to see you. And it's been a while, blah, blah, blah. One of them even bought me lunch. And thank you for the lunch, by the way.
So you're accepting bribes.
No.
Oh, my
no,
God.
this was because this was John Settle. He texted me, he said, I'm going to Roly Poly Oly or whatever it is. It's not Roly Poly Oly, is it?
No, I don't
That's
think
the TV show.
No, that's the Bill Joyce book.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he bought me a Roly Poly Oly. And we shared that because he and I didn't want to eat from the city's money. They had box lunches, and we're like, oh, we're not going to eat from the city's money. We're not going to eat city money because then we owe them something anyway. Whatever. I would have eaten a city box lunch anyway. But
Getting off the track there.
Anyway, several people at our table, and then others came by and said, why don't you seriously consider it? Why don't you think about city council? Why don't you think about mayor? At least, and there's one suggestion, and I might do it, said, at least put your name in your next mayoral poll and see how you do. Put your name, and they said, and put Robert's name. I said, well, I'd crush Robert. I'm not worried about that. But I don't know how I would do against all the others.
Mayor CAO. We got this covered.
He's always said that. He goes, he really doesn't want CAO. That's what I told him. That came up too. They said, well, what job would Robert have? CAO? I said, no, he don't want CAO. He wants to be like the PR person. And they said, and this is a quote, oh, so they can do nothing? So he can do nothing? I went, whoa!
No, that's exactly
what you'd want.
At least I would.
So I may put our names in there just for grins and make it really unscientific. Super unscientific.
Just in this conversation, she went from, I want nothing to do with this race whatsoever.
I'm putting my name in the poll.
To, hey, I'm going to put my name in the poll.
Should we do that? That would be kind of weird. But on the mayoral front, wait, because I got big news on that front. Huge news. Did I not send you this?
Hold it. Yes, you did.
Huge.
Hold it.
Huge.
Hold it till we come back.
It's huge.
We've got the news break. We've got traffic and weather. In fact, hit the traffic sounder to get her maybe she'll calm down. Ye gods. Okay, there is pretty important news as far as mayoral candidates go. That is next. Traffic and weather updates. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Uri Drive and East Kings Highway, and we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast. Today will be sunny to partly cloudy with a high of 92. Increasing clouds tonight with a shower or thunderstorm around late, low 69 degrees. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
1017 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Okay, so you sent me an email yesterday, and it was I can tell there is an enthusiasm there is an enthusiasm level to your emails. If you follow up an email with a text, practically ordering me to look at this email, drop whatever you are doing, and look now. Why was this specific email so important in your mind?
Well, this was someone sent this to me. It is an account that has been set up through a company called Act Blue. It's kind of like a GoFundMe account. And it is, and it says,
go ahead,
donate to elect Stephen Jackson for mayor. Contribute today to Stephen's campaign for mayor of Shreveport. Your contribution will help build a team. It's grammatically terrible, but help build a team to knock on doors, make phone calls, and spread the word about Stephen's priorities to make our city a better and fairer place for all its residents. Campaign contributions are limited to $2,500 per donor per election cycle.
Now, do you think Stephen knows about this? Do you think Stephen is part
of
this?
Well, let me follow up. I texted that to Stephen, the link to that page.
See, I could put up the Erin McCarty for mayor and just collect money on your behalf.
That's what I'm thinking.
And then keep it for myself.
So I texted it to Stephen to see if I got his reaction. And it was several hours before he sent me, what's the meme or the little emoji with a guy going,
I don't know.
Yeah, with his hands up in the air? He sent me that little guy, and then he said his two words were, announcement soon? ? With the little guy with his hands up in the air.
Okay, who's putting that up on the website, you or me?
You can do it.
Okay, send me a screenshot of the entire of the meme at least. Just screenshot the whole thing.
Okay. Yeah.
And then text it to me.
By the way, in our poll at KEELnews.com in the mayoral race, our completely unscientific poll, by the way.
Totally, remarkably unscientific. This is not only unscientific, it's remarkably unscientific.
Yeah, this is like basket weaving scientific.
Oh my God, it's like, it's acoustic, it's so unscientific.
Jim Tao leads at 50%.
Jimmy Tao.
Yeah. Adper is second.
Adperk.
He's 34%.
Adrian Perkins, Jim Talifero, by the way.
Stejack is third. He's at 5.15%.
Stephen Jackson.
Yeah. Undecided.
You know, the amazing thing is, as one looks across the sports landscape of America,
right?
You can't, and the trend is to shorten names like CP3 or whatever it happens.
Right.
You can't even get those right.
No, OT, by the way, is fifth at just 3%.
Wow. Still online, KEELnews.com.
Yeah.
839, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. The Senate passes a tax bill. The Senate passes a budget. So what now? And what does it mean for your pocketbook? Because Matt carries one. Traffic update. Here's Ruben.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Uri Drive and East Kings Highway. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, very warm with sun and some clouds at a high of 92 today. Increasing clouds tonight with a late-night shower or thunderstorm, low 69. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
I just love that description of the Solo movie, the Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
How was it?
Pew, 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 pew. I got to tell you about my adventures Saturday, because I railed and railed for a couple of days last week about the high grass on 3132.
Pardon me. We've got to cover two big topics in this segment. We've got to cover this and the latest tax bill out of the Senate.
You bet. So I talked about the grass, and they started doing some mowing, but Councilwoman Lynch, Stephanie Lynch, was a little bit miffed at me, like, oh, all you're worried about is grass. Come look what goes on in my neighborhood every day and in my district. And so she invited me to ride with her. So I rode with her Saturday, and I saw Moortown, Sunset Acres, Morningside, several neighborhoods around the airport. We got a lot of work to do. It's sad how piles of debris just sit there. A billboard right outside of our airport is just busted in half from a storm from over a year ago, and nobody's done anything about it. Nobody has said, hey, Lamar, or whoever owns the billboard, fix this. You have 30 days to fix it, or we're taking it down. Just basic stuff. It really was frustrating.
So the question is, I guess, following your day with Miss Stephanie, which I'm sure was very interesting to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And probably, he said, leadingly, most of it off the record?
Not really. Not really. She wasn't really, she's not shy. She's very open about, anything. We stopped and talked to a city worker. At one point during our visit, we're standing out a street, and we're talking to a resident who'd lived there for 50 plus years. And police cars drive by. Then all of a sudden, a policeman comes running down the street where we're standing there talking. And I turned to him and I said, what are you looking for? And he goes, a man with a gun. And I said, what's he wearing? A striped shirt. And y'all better get inside. I mean, that's just routine in that neighborhood. I thought, this just doesn't happen in my neighborhood. It wasn't like Stephanie set this up and said, oh, run the cops by. I mean, they were hunting for a guy with a gun on a Saturday morning. Does that happen in your neighborhood?
So between taking a step in a little different direction, between the mowing controversy of last week, between what you saw on top of that, what you saw this weekend about trash pickup, et cetera, is it maybe time to privatize those services?
At least investigate it. At least check it out. Because if you're the public works director, you're the mayor, you're the CAO, and you realize this is not getting done the way I would like it done. We don't have enough money to pay the workers. We can't find enough workers. Let's privatize it and investigate
and that
it.
seems to be, pardon me, that seems to be a very common excuse, perhaps too strong a word, but that is one of the reasons that seems to come up over and over again. Oh, we can't find people to fill these jobs.
Yeah.
I
I hear quite the contrary, but I may be wrong.
Bossier City's privatized. I'm not sure they're struggling for workers.
I just don't know.
Okay, so yesterday, by what was the vote? 29-9 was on the tax bill. The Senate sales tax bill as follows, because the House version, remember last week, was
a third of a penny.
A third of a penny
for 5 years.
For 5 years. The Senate version is a half a penny for 7 years.
Right.
Now, we talked to Jay Darden last hour, and Jay Darden says they're not moving off of that. Jay Darden says Governor John Bel Edwards is not moving off of that. Mr. Jay, we can't afford to.
Yeah, he even wanted it permanent.
That's
but
just what we can't, Jay said, we cannot do that. And I said, so what you're saying is it is 100% up to the House of Representatives to compromise. You ain't moving. This is the deal breaker.
Yeah.
Get ready for another special session, House, if you're not willing to move on this. And he said, yeah, basically that's it.
Wow. So they'll stay down there for another few weeks.
I don't know. Is the House willing to budge?
I don't think they are. I have a call in to the Speaker, Taylor Barra, and I haven't heard back from him yet. But he told the Advocate late last night that he didn't think this was sellable to the House members.
The House of Representatives has said in so many words that both of those are probably, the one they said was a definite deal breaker from the folks we had talked to.
Yeah.
Was the permanent tax versus 5 years.
Right.
Now, question number one, will the House of Representatives come off 5 years and go to 7?
Yeah.
Question number two, and this is the big question, is the House of Representatives, and again, we've been told, ain't going to happen, deal breaker, is the House of Representatives, after all the work and all the time and what we talked about in the 6 o'clock hour, is look, you know who's at home in all of this? You know who's eating at his own table and sleeping in his own bed?
Jay Beasy.
Is Governor John Bel Edwards. All those legislators, the senators, the representatives, the state Congress people, if you will.
Sleeping in their little apartments.
They are the ones who are away from home, and they are the ones who are putting in the 10 and 12 and 14-hour days and are, for all intent, they are probably a whole bunch of exhausted men and women.
Don't make any June vacation plans yet, guys.
So it's like that Kevin Costner movie Swing Vote, where the presidential election comes down to one vote. And if one vote means going home or staying down there for another governor-called special election, are you going to be the guy that says, I'm willing to do it again?
And to hear Jay say, I think we'll wrap this up, well before midnight, I think we go way close to midnight before we get sine die.
Darden said the House must be willing to move, to compromise in the Senate's direction.
Oh, boy.
849, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Ruben here, traffic update.
Keeping an eye right now on some slow-moving traffic on Uri Drive and East Kings Highway. And we have some traffic delays on Old Minden Road near Airline Drive in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, accidents, hazards, or closures, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
KeelAccuWeather.com forecast, partly cloudy, hot again today, low 90s. It is 78 at Keel, 850. Your money now.
You're listening to American Ground Radio's Morning Minute.
The numbers are out. More Americans are working than ever before, and unemployment numbers for Black Americans are at an all-time low. Unemployment numbers for Hispanic Americans are close to the all-time low.
On the flip side of this full employment news is the American business owner who truly needs to add employees and is unable to find them. Employers will have to bid up wages in order to hire and keep the workers they need.
Having that demand for workers is what will raise wages for more Americans. This ultimately is good news for you and me.
American Ground Radio, where building a better America begins with building a better us. Return each weeknight from 6 to 7 p.m. with Louis R. Avalone and Stephen Parr on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL, and streaming live at KEELnews.com.
Hey there, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty. Once again, Twin City Appliance, online at twincityappliance.com. I have a question, because they actually came to your house and did some work for you on the remember the old refrigerators that had the cooling thing on top? It looked like you know what I'm talking about? That's what Erin, it looks like a UFO landed on top of a refrigerator. It's like right out of Father Knows Best from the 50s.
Yeah.
The point is, and I didn't know about this because it's not in their bullet points, the 30-day, if something goes wrong, we'll come back and take care of the problem guarantee.
Yeah.
I would assume at this point they have not had to come back and take care of the problem.
We're all good.
Because it is 100% fixed.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll take care of it, and they want to make sure that it's done right and you're satisfied. That's the whole point. And you're not gonna be beat. You're gonna get the same repair guy every time too. So it's not a different person in and out of your house. Give Twin City Appliance a call today, 318-688-0253, or online at twincityappliance.com.
.856, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty, 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. Tomorrow morning we have Insurance Commissioner Jim Donlin on.
We're going to work on maybe the governor tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see if it happens. Or the House Speaker. Somebody from that can kind of give us an inside scoop.
So the deadline, the special session budget deadline is midnight tonight. And if there is no deal, and the Senate side and the House side are apart, and the conservatives, the hardcore fiscal conservatives on the House side, don't know. Jay Darden said, we're not moving. The Senate is not moving. If the House doesn't move, there will be no deal.
You bet.
And there will be another special session. Back tomorrow morning, 6 till 9. Robert and Erin, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Here's Kim Commando.
The grades are all in, school doors are locked, and kids everywhere are free. So let's take a look at what kind of social media will dominate their lives this summer. Kim Commando with your Monday Consumer Tech Update. As a parent, it's vital to know what our kids are doing online. Compared to this time last summer, more teens than ever are online. The Pew Research Center says that 95% of all U.S. teens own a smartphone, but their use of Facebook is down by 20% in the last 12 months alone. The lion's share is moving over to YouTube and Facebook-owned Instagram. The most probable reason? Their parents are using Facebook, meaning Facebook is losing some of its coolness factor. Oh, and this side note, even though the debate rages on whether or not social media is good or bad, most teens believe it has no effect either way. Of course, they're teenagers and you're the grown-up. So this summer, take an interest in what they're doing online. Ask what videos they find interesting. You'll be surprised that most teens are happy to show you. I'm Kim Commando. It's vital to protect your home and family with a home security system without sacrificing your privacy. That's what I love about SimpliSafe. You'll get an HD camera that you control from your phone. You'll see what's going on when you're away, which is great. But what about your camera and your privacy when you're at home? SimpliSafe has a solution. When the camera's on, you'll see a small indicator light. When it's off, so is the light. SimpliSafe designed this camera with a privacy shutter. When you hear it click, you know the shutter's closed. Even the world's best hacker can't see through SimpliSafe's thin, lightweight aluminum privacy camera shutter. It works every time. It's details like these that set SimpliSafe apart as the best security system for your home, your family, your peace of mind, and your personal privacy. SimpliSafe isn't just home security, it's home security done right. So check out SimpliSafe for yourself today at simplysafekim.com. That's simplysafekim.com, simplysafekim.com.
The intersection at Highland Avenue and Olive Street is dealing with some slow-moving traffic right now. And we have some traffic delays on East Texas Street near Benton Road in Bossier City. If you have anything to report to us, please give us a call at our Planet Fitness Traffic Hotline, 687-ROAD.
Your AccuWeather.com forecast, very warm with sun and some clouds at a high of 92 today. Increasing clouds tonight with a late night shower or thunderstorm, low 69. With your AccuWeather.com forecast, I'm meteorologist Heather Zayer.
Breaking news and trending talk. This is 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL. KEEL, Shreveport.